On June 10th, 1971, at D-Land High School, Arthur Jones, creator of the Nautilus equipment, put 19-year-old Casey Viator through what Jones would say was Casey's most productive workout ever, just 2 days before he won the 1971 Mr. America contest. Jones, who had pioneered the HIIT style of training, had taken Casey under his wing just 10 months prior and had him train using exclusively mostly Nautilus equipment, some universal machines, and a barbell and a dip and chin station. He would put Casey through brutal full body training sessions, doing just one set to failure on each individual movement. The exact workout on that day went something like this: leg press on the universal machine for 750 pounds for 20 repetitions, immediately followed by leg extensions on the universal machine with 225 pounds for 20 repetitions. Again, immediately followed by what was the craziest part of this workout, the barbell squat with 502 pounds for 13 repetitions. And at the end of this brutal back-to-back try set for the quads, Casey took his first rest period of just 2 minutes. Next up, he started working on his hamstrings by going immediately into the leg curl on the universal machine with 175 pounds for 12 reps. Again, immediately followed by one-legged calf raise with a 40-pound dumbbell, doing 15 repetitions on each leg, one after the other. Now this wrapped up Casey's lower body training, but this time there was no break. And Casey immediately went into some upper body training, starting with the back. First exercise was pull over on the Nautilus machine with 290 pounds for 11 repetitions, immediately followed by behind the neck lat isolation pull downs. This was done with 200 pounds for 10 repetitions. This was an extremely unique machine that's basically nowhere to be found in gyms today. And Arthur Jones had actually designed a pull down machine that bypasses the weak link in all of our pulling, the grip. He did this by designing a machine that had pads that actually went underneath the arms. So instead of doing pull downs by pulling with the hands, you're focusing on driving the elbows down to the ground. An extremely unique piece of equipment. But back to Casey's workout. After this exercise, he immediately went into seated rows with the Nautilus machine, where he performed 200 pounds for 10 repetitions. Again, immediately followed by the next exercise, behind the neck pull downs on the Nautilus machine with 210 pounds for 10 repetitions. It was then that Casey took his second rest period that day, again for 2 minutes, but then went right back into the workout, starting with the shoulders. First exercise, 40-pound dumbbell lateral raises for 9 reps, immediately followed by behind the neck shoulder press, this one with a barbell, 185 pounds for 10 reps. Then taking another 2-minute rest period here. Coming back into the workout, Casey then went on to hit the Nautilus plate-loaded bicep machine, done with 110 pounds for 8 reps, immediately followed with chin-ups with just his body weight for 12 repetitions. He then took a quick 2-minute rest again, and he came back for the last 2 exercises of this workout. That was tricep extensions on the Nautilus machine with 125 pounds for 9 reps, immediately going into parallel bar dips with just his body weight for 12 repetitions. And that was the workout. Each set was reportedly done to true muscular failure. And this entire workout, from start to finish, took exactly 27 minutes and 40 seconds. And this was the last workout Casey had done leading up to the 1971 Mr. America contest, which he absolutely dominated as a teenager. What's even more crazy is this exact training session was reportedly one of 6 that he had done in the entire 4 weeks leading up to that competition. He had trained a total of just 6 times over the last 28 days, which reportedly went on to be a very consistent training schedule of his, training the entire body in one session every 5 days. Now, when I read about this workout years ago, I was roughly 18 years old at the time myself, and this workout and reading this, it motivated the hell out of me. It inspired me to try and replicate this workout as closely as possible. And I want to give you guys what it was like for me in my experience as a hungry teenager trying to follow this type of training and motivated to be a competitive bodybuilder. But I also want to share a bit of wisdom that I gained in my experiences and being in my 30s. Having been involved in this sport for over 20 years, having competed at the national level and coached hundreds of others directly over the years. But most importantly, I want to talk about the big picture things that you can take from this and what most people overlook. And the first question or topic that someone will bring up when talking about a training system like this is the argument of HIIT or high intensity training. Does it work? Was this style of training responsible for building such a massive amount of muscle on Casey at such a young age? And what many people overlook is, not only was Casey brutally strong for a teenager, but at any age. He squatted full rep barbell back squats with 502 pounds for 13 reps. And that was his third exercise performed in a tri-set after pre-exhausting the quads with a leg press and leg extension. He was doing machine pullovers with almost 300 pounds and behind the neck pressing 185 pounds for reps with a barbell. Show me anyone who can squat over 500 pounds for 13 reps and I'll show you someone with massive quads. I don't care if they train with one set to failure every 5 days, if they squat 3 times per week, or follow a typical bro split. Whatever method you use that allows you to train hard, recover, and come back stronger consistently and add weight to the bar over time, that will in fact build more muscle. But with that said, everyone's focused on the X's and O's. They ask me questions all the time, like, Pete, is 10 sets per week enough? Should I train this muscle twice or 3 times per week? Is push-pull legs better than upper-lower? And the answer I always give is, are you progressing? If you're able to progress workout to workout as a beginner, month to month as an intermediate, and year to year as an advanced bodybuilder, you're making solid progress. And it's progression over time that builds more muscle. And that's exactly why Casey was able to progress so rapidly at that time. He had a limited number of exercises to focus on. He had a goal every single workout to beat the previous one. And he was extremely focused on driving up his progression over time. And he was also doing this during a time period where magazines were recommending those crazy high volume double split training systems. And most people will look at his physique at that time and the training that he did and draw the conclusion that it's one set to failure that actually built his physique. But the point I want to drive home to you is, if you're looking to build as much muscle mass as possible, you need to focus on progression over time. And there's many ways to go about that. His vehicle was simply one set to failure, but there are many other ways to get the job done. It doesn't have to be a volume versus hit debate. And if the goal is to build more muscle, the best method to do so is going to be the style of training that allows you to train consistently over time. And there's an extremely wide range and variances in recovery ability for everyone. So trying to force a very specific volume or frequency approach won't work for everyone. That's why you need to find the ideal balance for training and recovery for you. And even though the argument by most HIIT advocates is that low volume training is better for recovery, many people find that hitting true muscular failure every single session is actually harder to recover from than moderate volume. While a low number of sets is absolutely easy to recover from, when we talk about the stress that it places on the muscle itself, taking sets to true muscular failure, especially on extremely demanding movements, can be significantly harder to recover from the nervous system stress. But that's not taking anything away from it. That's just to explain that it's not a one set versus multiple sets argument. It's what volume, frequency, and intensity you can perform and recover from. And what exact volume can you train, recover, and come back stronger? In some cases, that might actually be less training, but in others, it can definitely be more training. But if anyone does what Casey had actually done, focused on taking his squat from 1 plate to 2 plates to 3 plates to 4, and even as far as he went to 5 plates, done for high repetitions, those legs are going to grow. So don't get caught up on the specific approach as much as the process of getting stronger. And we all know there's many different ways to build more muscle and build more strength. But as I always say, basic movements done with progression over long periods of time is what builds muscle. And ultimately, this is what changes your physique. I'm personally not a HIIT guy, and many of you know I generally recommend performing multiple sets near failure. And if you're looking to add more mass to your frame, you need to be focusing on basic movements done over time. And if you want the methods that I personally use and recommend, I highly suggest you check out my old school mass game programs in the description below. And as always, if you guys want to see more of the best original bodybuilding content just like this, make sure to hit subscribe.